What's up guys, Bob Buskirk here at ThinkComputers, and today we have another brand new Z87 motherboard from ASUS. It's one that many people are really excited about. It is their Z87 Sabertooth, and of course it continues the line of Sabertooth motherboards from ASUS, and you can see it has the nice thermal armor on it. So there's so many features and everything to get into, so let's just go ahead and check it out. The Z87 Sabertooth comes in a pretty plain box here. Let's just note it is part of the TUF series, which stands for the Ultimate Force. You do have a 5-year warranty. It also is NVIDIA SLI ready, as well as Crossfire ready, and Windows 8 ready. If we go ahead and we flip it over here to the back, it's going to go over all of your main features here. So it's going to have a full overview of the board. So, if you're buying this at the store, you want to kind of see what the board looks like before you get it. You have a full picture here of the board as well as the rear I/O. So it's going to show you everything that is on this board before you get it. And it's going to go into some of the features of the TUF series, which would be the thermal armor, the TUF Fortifier, the Thermal Radar 2, and the Dust Defender. All things, of course, that we're going to go over in the actual review, but I know you guys just want us to open this up and get into it. So let's just go ahead and do that. And when you open this up here, the first thing you're going to see, it is open here, so you can kind of take a look at the board. And you have a bag here with all of your accessories, all of your TUF accessories, and it does say the Ultimate Force on that. And then we can go ahead and open this up here. Nice little bag here. And inside we have a lot of stuff. First we have our 2 fans, which I'll get out. These are really small fans here that you can install on the motherboard for better cooling inside the TUF components. So these are 2. One goes in the center of the board, and one will go on the rear I/O, which of course we'll show you. And then you have all of these other accessories here. So these are all different accessories, and you do have your thermal probes here as well. So you have the thermal probes, and you have all these other accessories to close off different components of the motherboard, so you can effectively have better cooling and keep dust out of those ports. So if you're not using, say, like an extra PCI Express slot, if you're not using it, you can use a lot of this stuff that's in here to close that off so dust doesn't get in it. And of course, you're gonna have better airflow under all of your components. Now we do have the board here, which I'll get out. So we have the board, which of course we're going to take a look at second. So we'll move it out of the way. And under here, we'll have everything else. So starting off, you have your rear I/O right here. And as you can see, it is labeled. I like labeled rear I/O just for the fact that you may not know where something goes or something like that. It just makes it nice. And it looks nice, of course, that it is labeled. You have your SLI bridge, which does say ASUS on it. You have 2 sets of SATA cables, and they're in bags, and you have 2 cables per bag. And what else do we have here? We have our user's guide. We have a certificate of reliability, and this goes over all of the reliability tests that each one of the certain parts of the motherboard have gone under. So you can see all of the tests that the capacitors have gone under, that the chokes have gone under, and that the MOSFETs have gone under. So it just shows that this is going to be one of those really reliable motherboards. Okay, here is again one of my favorite things about ASUS motherboards. Here is your little standoffs here for your front panel headers as well as USB. So front panel headers can be a pain, especially if you're doing a lot of motherboards as we are. They're hard to find. You may not know what goes to what. This is labeled here. So you take your front panel connections from your case, all those little cables and wires, you connect them to this, and then you just plug this right into your motherboard. Just makes it so much easier. And again, one of my favorite features of ASUS motherboards. We have our software and driver CD. And then you have your accessory installation guide. So, the TUF series has the thermal armor. And this is a little installation guide showing you how to take it on, take it off, put all the accessories on and everything like that. Taking a first look at the Z87 Sabertooth, it has the same color design as previous Sabertooth boards. So you have a black PCB with light and dark brown accents here, which gives it a really cool design, a lot different than many other motherboards out there. Now, of course, a lot of this is being covered up by the tough thermal armor. Starting here at the CPU socket, this is Intel's LGA 1150 socket, which of course is made for Intel's Haswell processors. This board features an 8+2 phase VRM, and that is made up of high amperage alloy chokes, low RDS MOSFETs, as well as 10K black metallic capacitors. One thing that is really cool about the tough armor on this motherboard is that it features these airflow valves. So you have two, you have one right here, and you have one right here. Now, if you're using air cooling on this motherboard, you're gonna wanna keep these open, which I believe, yeah, they're both open right now. And what that does is allows the extra air from your CPU cooler to flow into there and help cool everything. Now, if you're using water cooling, you wanna keep those closed and allow the heat pipes that are already in there to keep things nice and cool. At the top of the board right here, you have your 8-pin CPU power connection. You have a small 3-pin fan connector, and this is for the fan that's actually gonna go on the rear I/O. You have a 4-pin fan connection. You have your CPU optional fan connection, as well as your main CPU fan connection. Now, these are both 4-pin connections, but there is a small MOSFET on the end of this connection right here. And what that does is, whether you're using a 3-pin or 4-pin fan, you can control it within the motherboard's BIOS and, of course, ASUS's software. Now, on previous generations, you were only able to do that on a 4-pin fan, but now with this technology, you're able to do it on a 3-pin fan as well. If we take a look here at the DIMM slots, they are color-coded to, of course, denote the different channels. This supports up to 32 gigabytes of DDR3 memory. You have your MEM-OK button right here. You have a 4-pin fan connection, and of course, you have your 24-pin ATX power connection. Moving down here, you have your USB 3.0 header, and it's actually at a 90-degree angle with your SATA ports. Now, as far as SATA ports go, you have 6 SATA 6 gig ports, and those are, of course, provided by the Z87 chipset. You have 2 extra SATA 6 gig ports, and those are, of course, provided by ASUS. Along the bottom of the board is where you're gonna find the rest of your connections and everything like that. So you have your front panel connections right here. You have your direct key button, and what that is gonna allow you to do is load you directly into the BIOS. So say you're loaded into Windows and you need to go right into the BIOS. You hit that button, it's gonna shut down your computer and restart it. And when your computer restarts, it's going to load directly into the BIOS, hitting the delete key or whatever key you have to go into the BIOS. You have a 4-pin fan header right here. Now you see these little 2-pin headers, and these are actually the headers for your thermal sensor. So you could connect a thermal sensor to that, and then connect that thermal sensor to maybe a video card, a hard drive, whatever it may be, and you can read all those through the motherboard. You have 2 USB connectors right here. You have your TPM header. You have your clear CMOS jumper right here. You have another 4-pin fan header. You have your Thunderbolt header and your HD audio header. As far as expansion slots go, you have 2 PCI Express 3.0 x16 slots. Now, if you have a single card installed in this top slot, it's gonna run at x16 speed. But if you have 2 cards installed, they are gonna be running at x8 speed. You have 3 PCI Express 2.0 x1 slots, and you also have a PCI Express 2.0 x16 slot, which will run at x4 speeds. One thing that is new about the Z87 Sabertooth is the tough fortifier. And what that is, as you can see, is a backplate, much like you would see on a lot of ASUS's high-end video cards. That's gonna make the motherboard more rigid, as well as give it some extra cooling as it makes direct contact with your VRMs and other components. As far as your rear I/O goes, you have 4 USB 2.0 ports. You have this big open space, and that is actually where one of those included cooling fans is going to go. You have your BIOS flashback button. You have 4 USB 3.0 ports. You have 2 right here and 2 right here. You have two eSATA ports, and those are SATA 6 gig ports. You have your optical audio, HDMI, DisplayPort, Ethernet, as well as the rest of your audio connections. So this wraps it up for our quick unboxing and overview of ASUS's Z87 Sabertooth motherboard. Make sure you check back very soon on ThinkComputers.org, as we'll have our full written review that's going to go over all of the awesome features of this motherboard and of course include benchmarks and all of that fun stuff. So remember guys, if you like our videos, why don't you subscribe? Catch you guys later.